Well, welcome back for our final series of the day, Crumbs. It has been some pretty banging games, to be perfectly honest with you. Cloud9 sweeping in pretty big style. TSM with some comeback-ish games, but mostly showing some really good coordination. Also sweeping their series. So are we going to get another sweep here in our best of two to end the day?
Well, that's not in Team Liquid Academy's current interest, despite them already having been swept yesterday, because they lost 2-0 to FlyQuest, even though they have a new top laner in Dokla, who has been pretty good. It seemed like the gelling of the team just still isn't there, as it's understandable. The team has gone through many roster changes in the last few weeks, so they're going to have to pull it together quickly, although the split is long. The games do add up, and it's often at the beginning of the split where the momentum is built up, and this is where the team has to make it stand, because you're going up against a team that isn't really close to you in the standings. Going up against Golden Guardians Academy, who have struggled this split and did find the 1-1 yesterday through some innovation, but should be a team that fall over to Team Liquid Academy, since TLA started this split very strong, and you'd hate to see it dwindle this early.
Yeah, I mean, TLA started both their splits actually incredibly strong. In fact, it was kind of a shock that they got knocked out of Proving Grounds as early as they did in the spring. So definitely looking for another strong start here, despite some of the changes. I know Coach Spawn is still cracking the whip for the lads and making sure that everyone's on the same page. And clearly the Team Liquid Academy process is kind of working, right? Having to bring a player in that late is always tough. But Bob Jenkins actually been doing pretty well in the LCS on Team Liquid so far. And obviously Dokla now being signed is kind of a nice way to relieve Jenkins of having to play in Academy and LCS, because that's pretty tiring for any player. And obviously Dokla, a standout for Academy for quite a while, has been on a number of different teams, maybe most successfully in relatively recent history was TSM Academy, and now here on TLA. You're right, this definitely should be a game where Team Liquid Academy should feel very confident up against Golden Guardians Academy, but sometimes when you're very confident, that's when things slip away and you don't necessarily get all the points you could have, because you maybe drop a game or potentially even two if you're really not careful.
Exactly. When you're overconfident, you end up underestimating your opponent, or just not even considering the plays that they could go for, not respecting what they're capable of. And I think that's something where they have to keep in mind, since Golden Guardians has been innovating. At the very least, they are trying new things, and I think their read on the meta is pretty good. At least they're not doing things like Cloud9 are, where they're really prioritizing these set and leasing combinations with these wombo in the team fights, but they are finding things out, like the Ziggs in the bottom lane, the priority on the Nautilus. So there's things that they're doing that seem to be getting a lot of wins for plenty of teams. So this is not a team that will be easy to beat, because what Golden Guardians is pretty good at is getting these leads where they struggle in closing out the games.
Right, and that could maybe be a struggle here against this particular opponent, because my assumption is one of the things that hasn't changed about Team Liquid Academy is about how well they play the game and how good their fundamentals are. This is something that's true of Team Liquid kind of across the board in League of Legends. The teams are very well drilled, very well practiced. They've got great infrastructure there. So even though you change a couple pieces, typically the teams are very well practiced. So we'll see how it happens here in game number 1. Golden Guardians Academy on the blue side for this one. Team Liquid Academy over on the red. Gwen is banned on the TLA side, and Lucian continuing to eat quite a few bans today, Crumbs, but he's going to be taken off the board this time.
It really surprises me, because the Lucian is such a fragile pick, and right now so much of the game involves these bruisers that can stay alive, that can go down a few kills and still contribute to the team fight. That's the value of the Lee Sins, the Nautilus, the sets that, yes, they can beat, but they can still team fight really effectively. The likes of Lucian, not at all. Absolutely not. You need to walk a knife's edge in your advantage in the laning phase, and then be very good in the team fight. So the areas where you can make errors as Lucian are so much larger that I feel like it's just too difficult of a pick to manage, and I want to see teams prioritizing more of these bruisers that have guaranteed value.
All right, well, Thresh, Viego, Renekton, Jace, the other 4 bans there on either side.
Enchanters! They're available!
Xin Zhao also available. Going to be first pick there for Golden Guardians Academy. Again, Karma and Lulu are both up. The likelihood of Team Liquid Academy taking both of them, Crumbs, pretty low.
Yeah, there isn't really a strong pairing between them. Maybe you could grab an Olaf if you really wanted to, but TL has to have alarms ringing in their head. That's exactly what Golden Guardians Academy is going for. Take away the Xin, knowing that 2 enchanters are up and you're gonna get the pick of the litter. Unless TLA Academy spin this off, oh, please do it. Okay, they're not gonna do it. But at least deny the Karma, which is the stronger of the pairings, which is a nice read. So Golden Guardians will have to go with Lulu with the Xin. So they'll show their mid and jungle this early on, while TLA Academy, still on the red side, can flex this Karma to the bot lane and make sure that the Ezreal Karma just denies any melee that wants to be an engage assist to the Xin Lulu combo.
All right, well, looks like, yeah, already kicking the ball back over. So Lulu and Lee Sin, very strong champions here for Golden Guardians to open up this game. Ezreal, though, we'll see how that one works out for Yeon, as TLA are going to pick their third champion here in this draft. Probably want a jungler, although, I don't know, it's tough. Like, again, what do you play against Xin Lulu, right? Xin already can be kind of a nuisance. Looks like Olaf was a good call. Crumbs, that is the lock in there for Armeo.
He likes to play this Olaf, and I think it's the only pick that can actually stand up to Xin and deal damage to him. You're gonna stand in melee range of him. His ultimate is gonna just knock you away if you're ranged. So picks like Kindred or Grace just won't do anything against him. So the Olaf at the very least has some power in the early and even in the mid to late. But what I'm mostly interested in is, where does TLA flex this Karma? Because Golden Guardians Academy with the Lulu can give us still a Kog'Maw, right? Can still go maybe Kog, Braum, this kind of composition. But then if TLA flexes the Ezreal and Carmen to the bottom lane, that lane is over. They're just going to demolish them. So there's going to be some mind games here in where these 2 enchanters that have been so hotly contested go.
All right, well, Jinx band, Syndra band. I'll see what the other band is here for TLA, but definitely still a lot of questions here as we move ourselves through phase 2 of the draft. Imagine that Lee Sin is for Niles. That's probably one of the few things I can actually guarantee in a draft with all this many flex picks. Braum going to be banned as well there by TLA.
Yeah, that's just a really nice ban, making sure that there is no way to block many of the long-range spells from TLA, and also assist so beautifully with the likes of a Lulu or an Enchantress. Surprised they didn't take it themselves. It could work, but that also is showing us that they're not interested in keeping the bot lane pool wide open. They want to make sure that you force Golden Guardians Academy into either Lulu support or tanks that don't assist in healing, that just have to take the punishment that Karma and Ezreal can offer. This is just a nice little hover there out of Yeon. That would be wild if they actually go this. I think it'd be too much in this direction. Or it could be a AD Yumi. I saw a clip of that a few days ago. It was. You saw that? That was a
No, I didn't see. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was Hurricane AD Yumi. It was pretty fun. It was pretty fun to watch her zoom and zip and get kills.
And Yumi Olaf, once upon a time, was pretty powerful, but I think Karma definitely occupying the Enchanter slot these days. Leona is the selection in support. A little bit more on trend, let's say, as Brisbane is going to go for Callista here. I'm curious alongside which support, because it is expected that this isn't a Lulu bot lane. I'd be surprised if that's what Golden Guardians want to do. Yeah, I like both those here.
Yeah, those could be sick. Dinka? Maybe? Oh,
teasing too. All right, us. There's Tarek.
Okay, yeah, this works really well with Xin, and I think what they want to do is what we saw from Cloud9 in Game 2 earlier, which is the Callista is going to have priority against Ezreal early on. You can stack a wave, and maybe you can go for a tower dive there if you actually get some damage onto the Ezreal lane, knowing that it's going to be the Leona that will be with her, so you'll be able to make sure that she can only stun a single member and not keep you both away. So there's some playmaking that Golden Guardians Academy can go for, but more important than that is that both junglers will be buffed up by their mid laners. It's the true golden meta. They actually want to help the jungle, and they'll pick for it.
It's taken 10 years, Crumbs, and finally junglers are getting the help they deserve. Also, Set somehow snuck through all the way to 5th pick for TLA. Definitely a champion we've been seeing get quite a bit higher priority today so far, but Mostly a skill matchup, I'd say. I feel like Set is typically very good into melee champions, but I would also say that about Lee Sin in a lot of cases. So I'm guessing it's going to be a wash / a skill check, with maybe the junglers coming up every now and then. But it will be fun to see how Niles goes up against the newest TLA top laner.
I think the Set going all the way down just shows that Golden Guardians felt like they had way more things to prioritize, because Set would have been really good in the place where they have the Lee Sin as well. So it's them making the choice that they want to have the Lee Sin instead. You can't practice all of them at the same time, and just putting Niles on this pick tells me that maybe this is the match that they are most confident. It can follow up better on the Xin. If all the shields want to go on the Xin, then you don't have to worry about Set. Lee can take care of himself a bit better than a Set that will need speed to get into the fight usually.
Yep. The other thing, of course, is that drafts are very different when Lulu and Karma are open. So we'll get into game 1 here and see how we go. Last series of the day, Crumbs. 2 more games left to finish out this week of Academy here, week 3. Been very fun so far.
Glad you could join us in the Academy return, and we get a lot of really good ones. You're gonna have to do this again because we got the pentakill, and now this might be the first time I think all split that I've seen Lulu and Karma actually be in the same game. They're either getting permabanned or split apart, and here though, Golden Guardians is just saying that this comp is just too good. We don't care if it's Karma or Lulu. Xin with an enchanter is a strong strategy to win the game. That's what they're going to bank on.
Well, I definitely agree with that. As for once, I guess not for once, mid lane is going to be atypically not very interesting. Going to be a lot of pushing and a lot of helping the jungler. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on the junglers as they're both starting on opposite sides of the map, but both getting help. A little bit extra help for Armeo. Does have 2 people to leash instead of 1, where it was just Niles helping out Rosethorn there, as Yunbi is busy here on the wave. We'll see how this matchup goes. Dokla first to the wave. Oh, goodness, Facebreaker is so powerful.
You could say he's a busy Yunbi.
I like that. Also, Set passive is really strong, so can be tough to challenge Set at level 1 or in general, but Niles will have the sustain as he gets safeguard levels. I'll keep an eye on actually how he's leveling. It's kind of interesting in this particular matchup, but I'm guessing it'll probably be a Tempest Max here, maybe an extra point into W or 2, just to make things a little bit easier, as Prismal trying to get aggressive as is needed here in this 2v2. You can already see level 2 already, only 1 CS for Yeon. They're playing very far back here in this lane.
You saw it happen, although it won't be a 3 waves crash from Golden Guardians. This one crashed a little bit too early. You'd like to see those 3 waves really pile up. Just those early minions will actually die to a turret, and then the melees will step up. And now we actually see the rest crashing in. It does buy some time for Golden Guardians to maybe roam around the map and see if they can assist with some deep vision as they'll roam into the jungle and put themselves in harm's way in the river, hoping that nobody catches them.
I also like that Lulu is like one of the older champions in the game now and has quite a few skins. And yet, everybody wants to turn everybody else into a cupcake. It seems like there are no other Lulu skins. Yeon in trouble, getting ignited, but he's going to be okay. Committed maybe a touch early there for Newbie, but I do like the pressure.
Alright, cupcakes or muffins? I pose the question to you. You are pastry time, you must know.
This is true. So, for my first, it was like, are they different? I'm like, well, they are different. Cupcakes are iced, right? It's a big difference. I think I'd say cupcakes, but they're both very good. It really depends what you're after. Muffins can be more savory. Cupcakes are almost always sweet.
Damn, yeah, you really knew a lot more about this.
Oh yeah, look,
I had no idea.
We could keep going on forever, but we're not going to. We're going to talk about 2-pointed safeguard here, because Niles is indeed keeping some safety here in the matchup. I do like this little adaptation for Lee Sin. Again, one of the best things about Lee Sin is how flexible he is in everything. He does it all. He plays every role, every lane, builds everything in any order. It's great. Builds every item. Good champion. Okla, pulling him back though.
actually can build Zanyas and still get value out of that one, so just like Volibear, because you've got a AP Lee Sin is a viable build in some situations. Not much, but then you have those Earth games where you actually go Ardent Sensor Lee Sin and you have permanent safeguards on your teammates. So there's a lot of fun with that champion, and he is one of our oldest, just like Lulu, and he also does have plenty of skins, but there's never one where he actually isn't blind.
That's true. Makes sense, you know, that's kind of his thing. Part of his lore or whatever, how that works. Oh, what a huge Q. Oh yeah, I had to flash. Yumby felt it, he was like, oh, I don't know about the calculation here, but I don't want to die, I don't care, bro. Getting first blooded just because I didn't flash. So a really nice hit on there by Harry.
The camera sees all. The camera absolutely sees all. If you are jungling and you miss a camp, if you miss a cannon, every single cannon will be caught on tape. The audience will know, and we'll spam about it because we saw it.
Yep, caught in 4K every time. This is Dirk with TP's back to top side. Niles has not TP'd yet, so does have a little bit of extra tempo to play with. Although it does have to be careful now that he is down significantly in items and, of course, a little bit in health. TP back in here in mid. We already saw Yumby TP back in. Kum's going to rejoin the lane as well. And it's battling mirrors there in mid lane. As I said, lane is very much about the poke. To Harry's credit, he did actually get, you know, enough pressure to force a flash, so there is definitely, obviously, some play in the 1v1, but way more about what happens later on when they enchant up these junglers, in particular here is Rosethorn and Almeo, both careening towards level 6 pretty quickly.
It's the rush to the Shurelia's Reverie in the mid lane. That's really what the mid lane matchup has turned into, but Karma is having the advantage thus far, though. Farming, last hitting, making sure that she can shove in Yunbi, even gotten that flash earlier, so that flash could actually make a big difference in this moment when Yunbi and Rosthorn group up and start to essentially take this dragon. But with priority in every lane, it seems like this is just going to be an easy take, as Armeo is just going to go for blue. He won't have the time to contest this dragon, so a good timing out of Golden Guardians to get this objective.
Well, Mayo right in the nick of not time. Oh, maybe! Doesn't get it. Rosethorn low, level 6 actually for the Olaf as well, but the roam is there from Newbie. Niles kicking Dokla down the top side, just trying to get some pressure down. Probably not going to need that one. So might as well use it for a bit of additional lane pressure, sure. Seems fine.
The Olaf could win that fight, but not with the Taric coming over, so he'll just let him back off. Live to see another day. Tells to Zinzao.
You don't want to let him go, but sometimes you have to. Thumbs up there meets the 2020 TL Worlds icon. Very stylish choices on either side. You love to see it. I mean, I guess in this kind of matchup, you have a little bit more time to emote, so it makes sense. As Rosethorn, level 6 now, sneaking in to the brush. Looking to ambush Yeon and Ayla.
Flash Dazzle, perhaps, going after Yeon. If Zin can angle a audacious charge, they'll go for it.
Oh, there it is. Newbie finds the angle. And that's first blood very easily. In fact, second blood's right on the table. Ayla does shockwave in. The W hits, and Rosethorn's in there. They're going to tank the tower, and Prismal finds the second.
Beautiful execution there out of Golden Guardians. Yeon steps a bit too far, and the instant punishment from Golden Guardians. They have been really good at finding advantages in the bot side with the jungler. Against Cloud9 in particular, I remember they were able to gank Sven so many times and shut him down. This has been an area where they have been so successful at before, and here they are again, especially when they have the Kalista. They won't hesitate to play through that lane.
Good stuff there for Golden Guardians Academy. 2 kills now, up a couple hundred gold. So watch this one again. I mean, Newbie just angled this so well.
2 people, and then Rosethorn there at the great angle for the tip of the spear too. Once those 2 collect, there's no way that Ezreal lives. So I appreciate that he saves those summoners, knowing that there is just no way out.
Good call out there. Zeon does indeed have both of those, but Rosethorn not done yet. Now to the top side we go. Going to be kicking off this Rift Herald here. Does have pressure from Niles, who's got Bio pretty permanently in the lane, actually, which has been good to see. And the middle has been a bit more of a battle, but Newbie's here. Cut off Ayla, and, you know, everyone's here, but it's a little too late here. Set's going to rotate down. Not quite on time. Newbie actually popping the ulti. They might consider a fight here. They're going to finish off the Rift Herald. which they do get, but now Stats coming in for the slam. Roastor knocks him away. Ulti's there, but it's not enough in the 1v4. Golden Guardians have to leave their jungler to die.
TL even had the Ezreal roam up into this fight. They wanted to be there. They didn't want to give up the Herald, but like you said, they're a bit too slow. And so they're not able to commit multiple members when the Herald is already too low. Prismal does get some value in that bot side, and only giving up a kill, though, I think that it's not that big of a deal when you can get that Herald, when you can pop that elsewhere. So I think Golden Guardians is going to be happy that they still got that objective, as they can now return to the bot side and maybe snowball Prismal even further. Because, yeah, you can buff up the Xin, and that's going to be a powerful combination, but Kalista is always someone you can count on, especially since you've already given her an advantage.
Yeah, it seems like at least the watch here is Niles is going to rejoin top lane. Doku is actually waiting in the wings, though. Not going to bring the trap just yet. Yumby here in mid lane chilling out. Niles. Oh, interesting. Going to get caught up here by Dokla. Have to hold that thought. That's so interesting. I think it's the first time I've ever seen a Lee in lane do this. How many points?
The Q?
Yeah, 3 points Q, 3 points W. I mean, back in the day, you would max Q and just go to town. But, you know, the current school of Lee Sins have been all about the power of, you know, the slightly buffed Tempest a number of patches ago. But Niles is going almost back to the older builds in some ways. You know, early safeguard, obviously, for the lane, because set's set. But interesting to see 3 points Q there.
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be so much variety, since we saw earlier Darshan with the W max in the situation. And this would only just help him 1v1. He's still having priority in being able to shove up the lane, though. So I think the early points in safeguard is what's allowing him to be aggressive. And then the points in Q are what allowing him to trade effectively. But I don't see much of a difference here. He is still taking a lot of damage from Dokla, as the CS is even, and it's not like either has even burned summoners on each other. So I think the differences between these spells being maxed isn't that large, but maybe once he has the Iron Spike Whip, it just doesn't actually matter that he has multiple points in Q and doesn't have enough on the Tempest.
That's true. Perhaps question will answer more thoroughly another day, but it's really cool to see again just how many different things Lee Sin can do. Dragon, though, is actually spawning back up. Rosethorn going to get caught up by Omeo. Ultied up there. Now the challenge is issued on either side as the ulti's coming out for both Xin and Tarek. Rosethorn now very spooky there with the enchanting ready to go. But that's not enough damage. Rosethorn going to be shut off by Omeo as he's the better berserker today. As Prismal, right as I say it, shuts him down. Yumby going to be forced to run away. Does flash over the wall, but instantly followed there by Ayla's wonderful Zenith Blade as Harry grabs a kill.
TL laid a trap and immediately pounced on Rosethorn, who stepped on it. They're going to go for a dragon right now. Golden Guardians does have a teleport with Niles if they actually want to fight this, since TL doesn't have a smite to go for this objective. So there is an opportunity for them to actually contest this. Here he goes. He's not flanking, though.
All right, Drake goes down. Now the fight begins here. Newbie in a little bit of trouble. Dokla with a big W does find it, but now Niles and Prismal, nothing they can really do. 3v4 incoming though, as Niles getting low, but does go down eventually. Yeon over the wall does take him out. Now Yumby TPing in, but Rosethorn back around trying to make it happen. The revenge story is so good. It's Yeon got himself knocked up just at the last hit of Xin Zhao Q, and that's a wash, I think. Golden Guardians getting some back.
Yeah, they get a lot of gold back. Those are 3 kills they get in return for that initial scuffle that just never ended. I was questioning that teleport being so late, but before we go to that, let's see how this has played out, because the Derek ultimate comes down to protect the Xin from the Ola. But then when Dokla arrives, who TPs earlier into the fight, then it wears off, so there's no way to keep him alive. They even catch the Lulu, who burned her flash to try to stay alive, but then with the numbers advantage, the thing where they overstepped was going for the dragon. Note that Ayla doesn't have a lot of mana. Their karma isn't even here, so there's actually not a really good opportunity for Team Liquid to take this fight. That's what Golden Guardians recognize, and I really like how Prismal is just confident enough to just march forward, because there really isn't many damage dealers here. As long as Set isn't attacking you and Ezreal isn't hitting you, the Owner without mana and the Karma's not a problem.
Oh my goodness. Niles is here. I saw the starter, by the way. We'll get to that in a moment, but there's the kill. The tower goes down as well, and the rest of Golden Guardians are reinforcing for their top laner. It looked like a 1v1 to begin with, but everybody's joining the party as Armeo will dodge that Q that would have killed him. It's a good little sidestep there, but Golden Guardians continuing to build on this early game lead.
they might be able to crack a tier 2 here. Nobody can come defend this, so they're going to get 2 towers out of this, and that is a big advantage in the top side. The replay was keeping me interested in what was going on down there, but here Golden Guardians is striking just as quickly from the play to the bot side to the one in the top, and even an invade that gets them a red buff. They got a big surge of gold from the dragon fight, and now the turret and the invade.
Just look at Prismal, man. 402, shield bow already done on Callista. But the Zerkers Guru is working on item 2 pretty swiftly. Yep, Ewan has Divine Sunder, that's good. But the gold difference, my god, 1,500 or so up just for the Callista. There's so much of this lead built into Prismal's advantage right now. 2,000 gold ahead for Golden Guardians. Yeah.
He is a very powerful. Olaf really hates dealing with Callista. That is one of the most difficult champions that you can try to land axes against, and even if you do, she just continues to kite you, and half the time you don't even have the lifesteal to survive. So Team Liquid Academy is starting to feel the wrath of Golden Guardians' prioritization in the draft. I think that is working out well, and once Fate's Call gets unlocked with Newbie as an offensive tool, not just to pull him out, then it'll be really up to Golden Guardians to choose whatever fights they want, and Team Liquid will have to answer back. And half the time, though, Karma is really good at doing that, but when you have the Xin, who's so good at engaging, disengaging seems like a thing of the past.
Now let's try to clear this wave. Newbie's here, though. Dive is incoming over TLA. Niles are trying to kite it out. There's the ulti out of Tarek. They're going to go for it now. Who's the target they want to go for? It's a 2v4 though. The ulti's wearing off. Newbie's there. Does go down to Eon. Really nice dive there for TL. And now Niles can't really get out, but Prismal finally reinforcing. Damage is there. Almost enough to Strikebreaker in for Dokul, but Niles still alive as Prismal is the target they truly want. And they are going to get in there. That's a big shutdown as Niles can finally be finished off as well. Beautifully played by Team Liquid, but the top side is not done.
They only lose a tier 2 for it, but the advantage they get in getting multiple members killed is huge for Team Liquid. And the great thing they did was bait out the Tarek ultimate. That fight was entirely dictated by the fact that they got Newbie to press the ultimate. They threatened to use abilities to draw turret aggro. Newbie pressed the ultimate, and then they backed off. They just waited that out. And when that faded away, they still had the numbers advantage. The reinforcements from Golden Guardians were too far away to come save that play. And so the dive just has to wait a few more seconds. They get the kills, and by the time that Prismal arrives, the rest of the squad is already dead. So here, the ultimate's already faded. And oh, actually, this is actually where they use him. Bit of a mistake, and then they just back off. Just wait their time and well-used abilities after it fades away. Kalista only now makes it, but she's literally walking into a 1v5.
Now again, TL looking to strike, trying to close that gold gap even more. Yumby ults himself. Rothon already committed the ulti as well. And Team Liquid can probably just go back in here. Fate's Call popped. Prismal looking for the engage. Ragnarok popped as well, but Armeo's now a bit more vulnerable. Yunbi is able to take him out as Prismal's still looking to pop off in the fight. Ayla is going to get tagged up and killed by Niles as Golden Guardians successfully stave off the onslaught that Team Liquid were throwing at them. And now to the Dragon they go, looking to finish this off.
When you can buff up Rose Thorn, that's when you really have strength in this fight, and that's what Golden Guardians did. They didn't even have Tarek ultimate available for that, but with Rose Thorn there, with the Divine Sunder and the buff up from the Lulu, then they're actually able to win these fights. The danger with Armeo in this kind of composition versus a Xin is that when Xin goes in, he literally becomes invulnerable to damage to most of Team Liquid's composition, whereas Armeo is actually giving up resistances when he presses R. He's actually becoming easier to kill when he goes in, so there's a huge disparity between these junglers when either gets buffed up and is thrown into the wolves in these fights. So it looks a lot better for Rosethorn when he not only is tankier, but then has a Tarek with heals and stuns to back him up.
Alright, well, Golden Guardians at one point were kind of getting the Gold League close, but TL went for it here, and Golden Guardians played this very well.
Rosestorm pops the ultimate, and then it's just tanking for everybody in the front lines. Ezreal can't hit him, Karma can't do anything, and then TL has to back off. They're already in a bad position as Golden Guardians collapses, and when Olaf goes down and Ezreal is in a position where he has to shift out, there just isn't that much damage in this lineup. It's entirely cooldown based. It's not really high DPS, and that's the problem. when you deal with this composition of Xin with an Enchanter is that if you don't have the ability to just consistently DPS targets where it's only burst windows, if he times that with your ultimate, you're just not going to be able to hit anybody for a few seconds since he is the entire team half the time.
Well, it was nice to see the Chemtech second for both mid laners here, so will help cutting down on some of that healing. It's pretty necessary. I was also still feeling pretty confident here, working on item number 2. Does have a serrated Dirk, so clearly something aggressive. What exactly we'll find out in a moment. Otherwise, Prismal also has 2 items done. Runa's Hurricane now finished. Muramana almost at for Yeon, so he's not too far behind. But definitely a spot where Golden Guardians at one point, TL had brought the game within 1,000 gold, right? Actually less than 1,000. And now Golden Guardians are back up to almost 3k ahead once again. So it's kind of back and forth, but Golden Guardians, at least right now, are maintaining the early game lead they've built.
I think it's going to get better for them, though. They have the Kalista that's going to be able to force objectives. And so if it gets to the point where they feel like the game is stalling out, they can always go to Baron, just start it, and then turn on their opponents. Their ability to engage with Fate's Call and Xin is really easy to execute. And so if they feel like their lead isn't building, they don't have to stay in that state. They can just force a fight, and TL has to respond.
All right, well, there will at least be something to fight for in 2 minutes 15. As there is going to be a dragon coming back up. Also a pretty nice one. Mountain Drake feels pretty good, especially when you're enchanting tanky targets. So, oh, nice one, Serpent's Fang. I really like that, actually. That's so cool.
I was hoping it wasn't going to be a collector, but this is a much better choice because against Karma, against Set, it's actually going to get a lot of value.
Now they have the double Grievous Wounds, the ones for the shields and the ones for the heals. The Golden Guardians feel pretty well equipped to fight here as Dokla busy in the side lane, punching away. Punching very quickly, actually. Set actually going to finish that off without any resistance here. Golden Guardians very committed to taking this mid out of tower. And I understand why, it's a good one to take, but losing a little bit here. They are going to go for the dive. Roson in, pops the ulti, tower goes down. Roson will be slow, but not stunned there by Leona ulti, so now I'm going to have to back off and peel Dokla away, because he is not done in the bottom lane.
Hey, he is still split pushing, and Golden Guardians is just now moving away. There isn't a wave, though. If Dokla stays for this, he could get collapsed on, and he might already be too late. Niles and Yunbi are on the cutoff path.
Whimsy up, ward hop over, Dokla now going to get himself slowed, does have the ulti as well, but the Wild Growth is going to see him, kicks him out of the way, dodges the W, dabs him with the Penguin. Niles playing it so well alongside Yumbi.
They just burned everything to get him killed. They did not hesitate in using ultimates for that one, because no fight is going to come up by the time those are available. They're short cooldown, so with Dragon in 40 seconds, they will be back up. It's a nice pick, and they did trade mid turret for that tier 2 in the bot side, but the tier 1 will be more valuable to Golden Guardians than what Dokla just did, so they're happy to take that trade and regroup for this next fight.
Yeah, definitely a zone that Dokla can look to play to now, but going to be probably a hard lane to get back into, given Golden Guardians are now very aware of what Dokla's plans might be. And now he's going to re-push that wave out. There's a dragon up in 10 seconds. Yumbi already popping the battle song. Singing the song of his people as they charge through mid, but no engage found.
But they have prio and they're able to clear mid. They go onto Armel. That's a good ultimate.
Yeah, Ragnarok popped. Rosestone is kiting it out. Not burning his ulti just yet. Golden Guardians is taking a cooldown here. Going back for the dragon. Not extending with their cooldown. Nice little disciplined play there for them as they will get this dragon nice and easily. Eon looking for the steal. Not going to find it. And of course, Golden Guardians knows that Team Liquid are running towards Baron, so going to have to go over there and see what's going on.
It's not even a strong Baron threat, so they can take their time,
true.
even if TL go for it. Ezreal just does not kill this
Ezreal
fast.
come, right?
Right?
Right on the Baron. Yeah, but you're right.
Only
It's just
Olaf.
not a threat.
Only the Olaf can actually threaten that objective, but even then, like even now, they have to respect it by using a Scryer's Bloom on it just to see that Golden Guardians doesn't go for it, because they can actually threaten it with the Kalista. So Team Liquid on the back foot here, only 3,000 gold down, but it feels like they are struggling to come up with answers to the Xin with so much support, and then there's a Kalista that they have to deal with behind it that it's just so powerful, Pastry. I think this combination is just ridiculously easy to pull up, and we won't see again. It really feels like it's far and few the games where Karma or Lulu are allowed, and when you compare them with Xin, you really start to see why it is that they're banned so often.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, like, Sin's not even the most powerful threat on the team, right? This Kalista is really scary. Even though I agree with you, the combination's very strong. Xin gets so much value getting his life extended, even though his ultimate does such a good job of that already. But we got a Rage Blade already finished for Prismal. The man is ready to fight Crumbs. Whether it's the Baron or the enemy team, Prismal is going to be shredding people.
Ooh. Rage Blade Kalista, that is a ton of stacks being applied. Niles is looking for a flank. Will he find Yeon?
Gets in there, Hobbs, doesn't quite find Yeon though. Now gonna get ulted back by Set. Niles getting melted. Damage is there, but now the Taric ulti perfectly timed out of Newbie. Ah, good stat there for Yeon though. Does kill Niles, so now Golden Guardian's actually in trouble. Out of cooldowns here. Rosedawn going back in, but Golden Guardians maybe a little bit too strong. They're just going to keep fighting out. And here comes Prismal to finish off the fight. Dokla, though, running interference. Rosedawn comes back. Very nice peel there to recognize the situation. Primal has the shield blow popped. Rosedawn still fighting it out. No, has to dive back in, but Yeon just keeps finding Zaps, and Prismal, he's not going to find it. He's going to die as well. It's only Newbie left. Team Liquid, they've stopped it.
They've done it. They win the fight. They're going to get a Baron for free. Newbie cannot stop this. There's 10 seconds on to Niles, but that's going to be more than enough time for Team Liquid since they won't take damage with this Karma. It's the Happy Bee. He's thinking about it. That's the TP ward for Niles. Does he take it? No, he goes for the other one.
All right, going to go in there. Niles, no smite, even though he's at least in. Going to go after Harry instead. Oh, good attempt there, but it's not enough to drag. Baron's going to go over. Miles is going to kick one away, but I don't think he can get a kill here. He's not even going to get one. In fact, he will, sorry, as he does nab the trade, but it's not worth it. Newbie's going to die now as well. And Team Liquid get the ace and the Baron.
They got so much from that, and I think the key thing was when Golden Guardians overextended to force that fight, when Niles couldn't find the angle onto Yeon, they kept going, and by splitting off into the Raptor camp and staying in the lane, the combination of champions that is so strong together was divided. Niles having to flash out, looks like he survives, but a beautifully timed Ezreal ultimate gets him killed, and then there's the support split down on the bot side with Harlista and Zinsao split up on the top side. So they need to use the Fate Skull to get him back instead of saving him and comboing. Only now does Lulu arrive into the fight. So the strategy of divide and conquer works out when you're dealing with these Enchantress that wanna buff up the carries when they don't get to go in and just immediately synergize with the Xin. Yeon can just really fire on the backline knowing that he's going to be safe, and now he's not only safe with a Glacial Shroud, a Serpent's Fang, but a 700 gold bounty. He is just hurting like a truck.
Hey, Yeon doing the right thing here, playing aggressive, knows he can afford to be a bit more forward, right? Because he has his own personal safety, but also this Karma behind him. Right, you know, you can apply the concept of carry plus enchanter anywhere, as Yumby's getting absolutely melted. Redemption pops, but Yumby didn't heal himself, so Lulu not feeling all that fight ready if Golden Guardians do want another encounter.
He really is doing a ton of damage right now. If he can just find Lulu a few times, then that's enough to keep her so far back that she won't be able to contribute with. Oh, he found Niles!
Niles, he found it. Roaston pops the ulti, but now they're going to go back in. Taric ulti down, Dokla TPing in as Niles can't fight these bruises, and again, Yeon just free-firing away. Rosedawn trying to dive into the backside as Prismal is a little too far forward. He does get Almeo, but I don't think he can survive the rest of the team. The ulti out of Ezreal is so good, and Yeon is going to finish off Prismal. Team Liquid Academy are mounting the comeback crumbs, and Yeon's on for the ace again, but isn't going to grab it.
TL just kites back. The kick did not get the Ezreal into the rest of the team. Only a single member was able to follow up, so he survives. And now with the Baron push, they're going to be able to just crack the base of Golden Guardians. Team Liquid with this Ezreal is just firing on all cylinders. They cannot connect onto him. He's so fed at this stage that Prismal, whose gold was so high in comparison to the Ezreal, just struggles to even get involved in the fight now that he's keeping everyone at bay with his really potent Mystic shots.
Yeah, it's also like got a Karma with Nod and Sensor, right? Getting powered up every single time a shield lands. Roku's going to go ahead, take this dragon, take the Mountain Soul off the table for another 5 minutes. And Team Liquid Academy busting through mid. Game's not done, but Team Liquid Academy have basically gotten the lead that Golden Guardians had. Now they're 4,000 gold ahead. Yeah, they stole it.
They Viego'd the lead.
They did. Yeah, Viego. All right. I mean, Golden Guardians can definitely still win these fights. I mean, Niles has to look for these angles right. I don't mind it at all, but you have to be very precise with this kind of move.
Yeah, it didn't actually land entirely behind the Ezreal, and so he gets kicked just into the upper side, which isn't enough. I mean, this fight is just so messy there, and the frontliners do die, but when Golden Guardians has shorter range, there's an Ezreal and a Karma just running at you and kiting away, keeping you perfectly kited. You're just going to be defeated every time when the fight gets to that point, when the initial engage is all fizzled out and you're just getting kept at arm's length, or in this case, at Mystic Shot's length.
Yep. Far away as Armeo does miss cancelling a potential recall, but Team Liquid are taking over this top side of the map. They got the mid inhib. They're going to work on these softer top towers, right? Because still the tier 3 is up, although not for long, of course. It gets taken out there. Yumbi is trying to split push with no TP. I appreciate it. You have to find something on the map to pressure your opponents with. So this is a trade that's okay to find, but Yumbi can't stay. With TLA having way more people and way more pressure in the sieges. I'm going to call it Yumbi's missing, but correctly assuming that he's coming back because he does have his items ready to fight with the team if Golden Guardians do want to make a stand here. Niles again. Ooh, actually kicks Dokla. Tribrick is in. Dokla now finding the suplex. Ulti out for Newbie though as the dive kind of comes through, and now Rosethorn actually looking for the flank, but can't really find it just yet. Ezreal ulti's real nice. Not actually used yet, excuse me, as Ayla to get the ulti down. And Dokla with a 3-man face breaker. TL just don't have to stop him, but now Newbie back in. Fate's Call popped down. Very nice there for Prismal. TLA. Now they're the ones getting routed. Ewan is so low, but he's not dead just yet. And Azul that's still alive is such a problem. Ewan is going to be able to heal back up TLA. Despite how good the fight looked there for Golden Guardians, are going to keep on moving. And Prismal just can't do enough here. It's a triple kill for the all-out Prismal, trying to finish it off as the ace is completed by Ayla. And TLA, I think that's game, Crumbs.
It is. They win that fight under the tier 1 the whole time. Golden Guardians was looking for an opportunity to take the fight when TL overextended, or Rosethorn just wasn't there. They didn't have all 5 members, so TL gets an initial chunk and is happy to just play the fight slow. When you've got the Karma, you've got the shields and such a fed Ezreal, all it takes is just to buy time, get those cooldowns back up, and then the fight pretty much wins itself, barring some really nice mechanics and mystic shots from the Ezreal.
20 assists for Karma at the end of it all. And 1 death, I believe, only for you on that game. If you kind of want a very quick recap of how that comeback happened. I mean, TLA weren't like horrendously far behind a goal, but still a very impressive early game for Golden Guardians that TLA were able to deflect. And perhaps you answered our question, Comes, of which enchanter is better. We suspected it was Karma, and unsurprisingly, it was.
One gives shields to one person, the other one gives up to 5 at a time. So that's the key thing to look at, whether it's Karma or the Lulu. It's Lulu with Kog'Maw. That's where I'll stand. I think Lulu is just not it for the mid lane pick, for the mid selection to combine with these picks. She's definitely very powerful with the AD carries. When it comes to buffing up your bruisers, Karma all the way.
Yeah, I mean, TLA, nice grit there in that game. Like, not falling too far behind, clearly trusting the scaling in their composition. And Golden Guardians, I think that Baron is going to be the one that we'll have to go back to, right? So close around that pit, but I think that was the thing that really tipped the scales back in favor of TLA. Because I think if that play goes differently, then Golden Guardians have a pretty smooth path to ending this game. But unfortunately for them, it was not made easy by Team Liquid.
It's always such a tough moment for teams to fight around the 20-plus minute mark, because suddenly the things that are at stake feel like could just open the game entirely. Everything that you've done in the early game is entirely shadowed by the fact that you die in these early fights, you give up Baron, and that's going to give up fights, objectives, and so much more gold that all your work is done, and that really kills your morale and just swings the momentum entirely in the team that wins that fight.
All right, well, nice comeback there for TLA to seal game 1, but who is going to take game 2? Our final game of the day is coming up after this break. Don't go anywhere.